along with me as I give an outdated footstool a more farmhouse look. Okay, I have my latest find from Goodwill, this lovely footstool for $9.99 at Goodwill, and we're going to turn it into something beautiful. So this doesn't match my decor, so first thing I'm going to do is remove this top so that I can recover it. I'm thinking of using just drop cloth to recover it. I may put some heat transfer vinyl or iron-on it, or I may stencil a grain sack stripe. I'm just not sure, but I think I'm going to use the drop cloth as the material to cover it. I'll add a little bit of batting to it. This is also from Goodwill or a thrift store. I'm not sure if it was Goodwill, but originally it was from Hobby Lobby, but I got it at a thrift store. So that'll be the batting to give it a little bit more padding before I put the canvas fabric over it. But first things first, let's take this apart. And there are just 4 screws here. And once I remove those, I'm hoping that the base is going to just come right off of the fabric. Okay, that worked. So we have those. I need my magnetic dish. I don't have that. But I do have the 4 screws, so I'll set those aside so I can rebuild. This is going to be a very easy, well, famous last words. I'm predicting a very quick and easy project, with this being our padding that we're gonna cover. I'll take some of this batting, like I described earlier, just give it a little bit more oomph, kind of here, and then measure my fabric. I'm not going to use this piece, obviously this is too small, but this is the gist of what we'll be doing. Looks better already to my eyes. But before we get to that, we need to do something about this red wood. It also has a chip in it on one of the legs. Here it is. This has a chip in it. So I'm going to paint it, and I don't even think we're really going to see that. But if we do, I can use some wood filler or something to address that. Now I can take it apart, but I don't plan to. It does have all the screws so that you can actually disassemble this frame and paint the pieces individually. But I kind of like that it's upright like this. And actually I may paint it like this. That seems like it may be easier to paint than taking it apart and dealing with all the little pieces. So that's what I'm gonna do. And the beautiful thing about chalk paint, one of the beautiful things about the DIY clay-based paint, is it just covers beautifully and needs, other than cleaning, it really does not need any prep. Okay, so I have my base all cleaned up with my damp rag, and now I'm going to just start painting. I have DIY Sandy Blonde, which is a nice, beautiful neutral color. See, it looks better already. I'll probably, need a couple coats because, you know, light color over dark. There is a little bit of shine to the wood. You want to go light on your first coat and let it dry. It'll dry in under an hour for sure, sometimes way under an hour. And then go light on your second coat so you don't pull off any of the first coat. Once I get my 2 coats of Sandy Blonde paint on, and I'm happy with that surface, then I will use a clear wax, a DIY clear wax, over the top of that. And then I'm going to try Decrepit dust. I watched a video by your Latina next door, I think is the name of it. And if I can find that video, I'll link it in the description below, where she used Sandy Blonde and Decrepit dust. So I'm copying her. So there we go. We'll wait. We'll be back when this is dry. We'll put on a second coat. I have not used this before, but my understanding is you put a little clear wax on it and then you drop a little Decrepit dust and it gives it some texture and some shine or sparkle, or we're just going to try it out and see how we like it. Here, and I think I'm going to like it. It does give it a little bit of more texture rather than just the solid look. Comes a little dust. The dust is fun. Okay, so while our frame is drying, I should say, we're going to work on the top, the padded portion. This is the original pattern, and we want to change that up a little bit. So what I did was I pulled out that batting that I had thrifted, but was originally from Hobby Lobby, and I doubled up one piece of the batting to give it some nice additional loft. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull over each side and staple it in, and then after I do that, I'll have a better idea of how much of the drop cloth fabric I'm going to need to cover it. Put one staple in each corner. Now I'm going to just cut off some of this extra. It's good. It's frustrating if you're too short. I've done that when I upholstered chairs, so I don't want that to happen. I don't want to waste fabric, but I also don't want to come up short. So I'd say about here is where I can safely cut it. Sometimes you can just cut it like this and rip it if it's a certain direction. This drop cloth, it works in one direction but not in every direction. So this is a good direction. Okay, so I'm going to do a stripe across here. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a piece of tape, and I just watched a video by Jamie and Zeb, Jamie Ray Vintage, showing how to do this, so hopefully I do this justice. They put a piece of tape in the middle. Jamie put a piece of tape in the middle. And then she put two pieces of tape alongside of this and then removed that, and that created the one bar of color that we're going to fill in. So I'm going to do that. Place this one here. And so the goal of this, and time will tell if I did a good enough job, is that we have a stripe in the middle. So here we go. We're going to just put a coat of paint on the fabric. So there we go. I had good luck with the first one, and here goes the second one. You just want to be careful not to let your masking tape touch anything that you don't want to get the paint on. Okay, so we have our fabric, the blue paint, which is called Apothecary, has dried, and now we're going to tape on our stencil and then use some DIY little black dress in order to stencil this JRV stencil, which says American Mills on it. So I'm going to tape it down with some painter's tape, and then you want to stencil with a very dry brush. Okay, I think I'll let that coat dry and then come back in a few minutes and put on a second coat. And here we go. Second coat. So I'll just start with one piece of tape at a time. Okay, here we go. Okay, I can work with that. Our little letters, Worthington, Indiana. First things first, we'll do our heat setting. Again, according to the video that I watched, it was recommended that we do 20 seconds on the hottest heat of an iron. So I have a Cricut Easy Press that I'm using because you don't want any steam. So I have it set to the highest temperature, which is 400. So canvas drop cloth seems pretty indestructible to me. I guess we'll find out if that's really true when we use the highest heat on it. But I'm just going to take about 20 seconds on each of these areas, and then that will be heat set. The Cricut Easy Press has a timer on it, so you can. I actually have it set for the 400 degrees, and then I just hit the 20 seconds. You can also do this with the household iron on its hottest setting with no steam. All right, let's take a look. Looks nice and pressed. Okay, so now we are to the fun part of attaching our fabric to the padded top. We obviously want to make it sure that it's straight. That's going to be, I think, our biggest challenge. Well, that definitely looks crooked. Now that needs to come down a little bit on the right. Okay, so I got out my measuring tape to do my best to get my design centered. So we have it going about 6 inches on each side and about 4 inches top and bottom. So we'll have a little bit of play once I start stapling, but I feel like this is as centered as I'm going to get and as straight as I'm going to get using this system. All right, let's take a look. All right, so that's just getting started. Okay, cutting off the extra fabric. Okay. Yet actually, before we can attach it to the base, we need to buff up our wax that we put on with our Decrepit dust. So here we go. We'll set this aside for right now. And I have 2 different buffing brushes. This one is the Buffy. Another brush that I use sometimes to buff wax is this from Goodwill, $2.99, Thoroughbred Horse Finishing and Face Brush.